Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
Chemda, this Saturday,
Yes.
I compete again in our virtual game show, Silent Trailers, the best game show ever made. That's a fact.
Honestly, yes.
Maybe you heard of the New York Times. Maybe you heard of Christ Jesus. Anyway, the point is everybody's loving this show. If you're a VIP member, you get a free ticket. If you're not a Keith and the Girl VIP member, well, what are you waiting for? Go to keithandthegirl.com/VIP. If you're new, use free trial. One word. The code free trial gets you right in. You can check it out. No harm, no foul. I'm talking what's my name? My name is Keith. Daddy Issues, Diamond Dogs. These are all shows we have on there. And every Keith and the Girl show back to episode number 1. What are we talking about here, folks? Grab your ticket. Listen to a whole bunch of our premium content. And if you don't love it, unsubscribe. Like I said, no risk. And we'll see you this Saturday, Silent Trailers. keithandthegirl.com/tickets. That's what you want to check out. Tell me I'm wrong, Chemda.
Oh, no. I'd like to tell you you're wrong. It's fun. Yeah,
Yes.
then we could be those like hosts that argue all the time, but I'm on your side for this one.
Thank you. There's a new talking shit video about all the comedians that I'm going to slay on the YouTube channel. That's under Keith and the Girl. Take a look at that. I'd love to see you. All right. We got 2 guests for you today. You're going to love them, of course. First up, the album she has is called Cry Through It. I think it's fantastic. Do yourself a favor and listen to it. She also had a one-woman show called The Bottom Layer, a journey from depression to slightly less depression. Carrie Gravenson. Hello, Carrie.
Hi, how are you guys?
We're doing good. We actually just saw Carrie in real life. She's one of the first people that me and Xerxes interacted with in a year and a half.
Mhm.
And she's been camping with us for years now. And this is the group camping trip that we go to. I wanted to talk to you about one of the things during the camping trip, unless you have more. But do you remember playing bingo with the locals?
Yes.
Like right there on the campground. How embarrassed was Keith at the rest of us?
Yeah, Keith was pretty embarrassed. Keith sat at the head of the table like the dad. Keith was our dad, and we were a joyous bunch.
Thank
shall
you.
we say? We
That's
were
a good word.
A very interactive, boisterous. We were having a great old time, and Keith wanted to melt into the little cement floor.
Right?
That-
He kept sinking into his chair just
Yeah.
a little bit more,
There was-
trying to be
there-
subtle.
There were kids there, and we kept our boisterousness, I think, pretty PG.
I think so.
Like
Yeah. I mean, I
Well,
know
we weren't saying suck my dick. I hate that number.
I don't know.
Right.
I really don't know. And you're telling me 069 got called and everybody behaved. I don't know. I just remember that it's hillbilly country, it's Trump country, and some jokes. I'm like, are we going to get killed today?
I think one time I said I was going to put my winnings into Bitcoin,
Right.
and then the other table was like, ooh, I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, that's what we do in the big city. We buy Bitcoin.
But Keith, did you change your mind at all, at least like halfway through the game? Because yes, they were looking at us a little bit funny. We were way more boisterous. It was almost like a retirement community that we were in. And we were doing things like, they'd say regular bingo is bingo. But now if you get all 4 corners,
Oh,
you
God.
can call bingo. So
Listen to this. Listen to this.
Yeah.
listen to what Keith is embarrassed about. Every time I got a corner, I said, yes, corner.
Because if you get all 4 corners, it counts. So she goes corner. Well, to me, that's the same as yelling corners. And this is their life once a week. So you just said bing. What? I didn't say bingo. I said
No,
corner.
they
And
say
it's
bingo.
very scary stuff.
Wow.
But then Hemda invented a new term. Hemda, do you want to tell everyone what the new term was?
Middle corner.
middle corner.
corner.
Yeah, you
What-
yell that. Sure.
What's a middle corner?
An
But
edge.
We
An
got,
edge.
we got the locals to start yelling middle corner, though. It caught
That's
on.
the thing.
It
So,
was a
okay. So
trend.
now the locals are yelling not only corner, but middle corner. The young girl who was shy at the beginning, calling out numbers, is now talking back to us freely and is having fun. I think she's getting out of her shell. And then for the rest of the time that we were at the camping site, if we passed any of these people, they yelled corner at us.
Yeah.
And it's not like they wanted us to go stand in a corner. So at what point, Keith, did you feel safe?
I guess about halfway through when we weren't dead. I knew it was okay. Yeah, fine. You're right. We left there not dead. You're right. but the beginning of it made me nervous.
Well, I want to report also this. Yesterday I was joking on the show about how Keith should pay extra for camping because he does absolutely nothing while he's there. And he did. He sent me $20 extra.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's your napping fee.
Thank you.
That's your I didn't do any dishes fee.
Literally everybody at any point will be like, can I help? What can I do? Or we'll just get up and clean some stuff or, get some stuff on the fire or whatever. Keith, just if the only time you see him is if he's on the way to the bathroom, eating the food, or that's it. In fact, we played a card game where he was sleeping and we made him play anyway by just putting the cards that belonged to him that we decided in front of his tent. So he woke up to some fun messages.
And guess what? I won the game. No joke.
Won.
Whoever ends up with the most cards. Who goes missing after 15 minutes? They put that next to my tent. I look at all these cards. I'm like, how many do we start with? They go, none. I go, I figured out this game, you assholes. Anyway, I win.
It was a get to know you kind of game, like an apples to apples. Like who's the most likely to blank, 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 or who would like eat a sneaker and deny it. And like we kept getting these cards while Keith was napping, and we were like, "That's definitely Keith." So Keith won the game by ignoring us.
Yeah, but he woke up to cards like, "Who's the biggest bitch?"
I knew there was a time that would definitely stick in people's minds about not helping out, and that's when we had the big family meal with steak and potatoes. Then I finished before most people, and I made a s'mores. And then you guys are making plans. All right, let's all clean up. And I got this marshmallow mess in my hands. I'm like, okay, but I got to finish this. So now I just look like some asshole walking around eating s'mores while people are cleaning.
What were you doing the other times people were cleaning?
Sleeping.
Okay.
This is too much.
Right.
What great timing.
Yeah, I always eat a s'more so that my hands are too sticky to help.
You can't clean things with burnt marshmallow.
No,
There's water on the site. Water and soap on the site.
And a river.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish the food. I'm not washing the food out of my hand. Look, I need help over here. Our second guest joining us. Featured on Broad City, Friends from College, Late Night with Seth Meyers, How to Be Single, The Chris Gethard Show. I saw this guy on the MLB Network. The podcast is Murph Meyer is Self-Medicated. What an exciting term we learned last time he was on, right? I thought it was called Do Less Drugs. It's called Self-Medicated. Murph Meyer. Hello, Murph.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Do Less Drugs works.
I love that you're here for this. Okay. After you just heard the bingo situation.
Sure.
Can you take a side?
Well, I will say that from where I come from, the old ladies, the old Polish ladies in Pennsylvania coal country, they play in the church basement every Friday night. And I would say that if you called corner and you meant corners, like I could see somebody getting cut by an old Polish lady in bingo, I will say.
Oh,
so I understand that maybe the concern about how they would take it very seriously, but it sounds like you won them over and they were now using your corner. So I don't know. I'm not a bingo purist.
Follow-up question. When will Keith learn that I'm delightful and that people always come around?
Yeah. So here, you know what? You're right. Here's the thing, Keith, you're thinking if you said that, if you did that, if I did that, we might have something on an issue on our hands. But yeah, Cameron can get away with it.
We were self-aware about what jackasses we were being. You know what I mean?
Thought we were drunk.
Like we knew we were being obnoxious. It's not like we were just like trying to like
in your face.
Yeah, we weren't like out bingoing. Like we cheered when they won. You know,
I'm gonna look up the word obnoxious later. But yeah, I picture them going, "Oh, the women were charming as they're banging my face into a tire iron." They don't even pick up the tire iron. That's left on the ground. They bang my face into it.
Face into tire.
Tire irons are heavy.
But it's worth middle edge corner. It's worth it. Shame if they do that. If they do that to me, that's on them.
At one point, I shouted "corner, corner, chicken, mourner."
Hilarious.
And and
I can hear my legs being broken. Corner, corner, chicken, pormer. And I'm like, what the?
Can I
guess I take out the biggest guy, or
for the record, corners was not a thing. Nobody can call corners and win.
Still bingo.
You still have to say bingo.
Still have to say bingo.
Yes, it's just you get bingo by getting all the corners. Corners was not shout out ever in the history of bingo as a I win.
Never in the history of bingo.
Fact, please.
I think
please let me have.
No one ever said I got corners. Say the right word.
You're supposed to shout "hit me" if you're like one away, and then Hemda would also shout "Uno" if she was one dot away from winning. And I was like, I don't know if they get the Uno thing, or is that a bingo thing? Like,
no, they understood it.
Yeah,
they heard me. They overheard me say Uno when people were one away from bingo, and they said they understood why we say Uno. So they're like, oh, what we say is "hit me."
right.
And then we all started singing Britney's "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time." Of course.
How many times, Hemda? Yeah,
Yes.
fucking hilarious. How many times did you look at other people on the table and go, okay, maybe that joke was a little too much? How many times did you have to do that? 6. The answer's 6, Hemda.
Keith, what ended up happening?
We lived.
Unless we died and we're in the afterlife now,
Am I speaking
might
to
have been-
ghosts?
we might be ghosts, Murph. I don't know. I've never,
Is your
You might-
partner, Murph?
prove
Is
me
your
wrong.
is your partner, for lack of better words, feisty? Do you ever worry like her in public? Like I'm gonna be responsible for the things you say,
Yeah,
thinking
she doesn't give a
everyone's
shit.
cool. Yeah.
She doesn't give a shit about him, but yeah, it's I've been there. Although
Do
she
I
would
come
dust it up. If my face went into a tire iron, I feel like she would dive into the scuffle at least.
Right.
I would help you if you're getting fucking.
I didn't mean to imply you'd pull out a cigarette. I meant I'd rather not find out.
I would
Okay.
pull out a flat tire and be like, "Thanks for the tire iron."
Like, there's a lot of blood on this tire iron, but I can
Yeah,
make it work.
give me that bloody tire iron. I got to change my tire. Sorry,
See,
Keith.
Keith, they didn't ride their golf carts all over your face. Okay.
They did have a lot of golf carts. Next
Yeah.
time we rent a golf cart.
I would love that. Yes. By the way, I did later on or after we got home, I don't remember. I asked Xerxes, was he having an issue with this? Because it's not the first person to be like, oh no, we're going to, or maybe that's always Keith and he's like been in my life for too long. But I did want to check with Xerxes, my actual partner, to see if this like threw him off or if he was worried or whatever. And he's like, not for 1 second.
Right. Well, I will say this about Carrie. Carrie is a caring person in that she started a little hobby making resin molds. And she asked people, what do they want? And Xerxes said a joint in resin, I suppose. Got that. I just got mine. I got mine the other day. It's a headphone. It's a wireless headphone, so I never lose it. So I'll put a picture of that up. But yeah, so if you never want to lose your headphone, wireless, throw it in resin.
Yeah.
And I have it right here holding down my
And
papers.
what we learned is that headphones sync in resin. You'll notice that the headphone is on one side of the resin. We also learned that joints float in resin. Oops.
Oh,
So there's your floating joint.
That's dope.
interesting.
You have to turn it so you can see it's like, it's on the top of it. See, it rests there.
Okay.
Well, that's sweet. What do you do? Is like all your shit in resin now in your house?
Yeah, when you buy the resin kit, you just go around your house putting shit in resin. That's true. That's definitely true.
I
And
love
resin-
that if you run out of weed, that's like in case of emergency, break resin, and you just try to smoke that resin joint.
It's not actually filled with weed. We didn't want to waste the weed.
No, good call. Good call.
Oh, well, you know what's funny about this headphone gift? I have a spare one for the other side of the air, but this is better because I could. Please.
Yeah.
All right, let's get right to it. Sad news, of course. The great Norm Macdonald passed away at 61 years old. Hidden 9-year fight with cancer. This guy was the best.
Yeah.
Is that right? It seems like nobody disagrees with that. Unique, hilarious as fuck. Never a disappointment, whether he was on SNL. He, of course, played Burt Reynolds. Call me Turd Ferguson. Why? It's funny. He had a Netflix show called Norm Macdonald Has a Show. That was fucking hilarious. And I always wondered, where's season 2? Is it too irreverent for people? Apparently he was battling cancer. He wrote for Roseanne during those good years. That's how SNL found him in the first place.
Ah.
A lot of voice work on Family Guy. He played Death. Ironically.
I didn't know that. Oh, funny.
He was the Grim Reaper. He was great. He put out a book. I think it's called like mostly true story. And you guess if it's true or not what you're reading, but it's very funny. The dedication to Charles Manson, and then in parentheses, not that one.
Nice.
It's so interesting to me, the hiding of the illness. And it's so funny. As I'm saying that, I'm like, why is that interesting? Wouldn't that be what people do so that you don't become just a poster board for cancer, and then people only associate you with cancer, and then you're asked to do cancer-y benefits and things, and your whole career becomes cancer. But what a difficult thing to go through in hiding.
Yeah.
I don't know that I can do that.
I think you wouldn't want to be on death watch. I agree that you might not want to tell everyone, so that everyone's just, that becomes the thing. But for years, I mean, that's
easily 9 years. Yeah. His when he was on those Comedy Central roasts, it was nothing short of brilliant. He was on the Saget roast, and he's reading off of cards, but you could tell that he just took these things from some horrible 1930s insult book. It's like, we wish you well. No, sorry, I read that wrong. We wish you died in a well. And then he just stood there knowing it's not really that funny. And he did like 15 of them. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
What a fucking
loss.
shame.
It's a huge loss.
This guy Josh says, this is my favorite joke of his. When you're at a restaurant and you order a meal, and while you're waiting, you eat an entire loaf of bread. You never do that at home. Hey, honey, I'm going to make this ham. But first we should eat this entire loaf of bread. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
He was on Letterman's last session. Didn't he one of the ones that sent off Letterman as the last stand-up?
I believe he was. Yeah. You know what? It's odd that he was fired from SNL. The story, as I understand it, is, you run these jokes.
You gotta crack up a little more in your scenes in order to stay.
Right.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. He's very deadpan.
Too straight-faced.
Other people see the jokes that you're going to say on SNL. He does, they're on a teleprompter. They go with pictures. But somebody in charge of NBC was friends with O.J. Simpson, thought there were too many O.J. Simpson jokes, and he was fired. Well, that is so strange. That is so strange. And
is
then
that the real story? How is that the story?
I understand that's the real story. And SNL wrote, today is a sad day. All of us here at SNL mourn the loss of Norm Macdonald, one of the most impactful comedic voices of his or any other generation. That's true, but I don't need the restaurant that fired me to put out something like that about me.
Right. Yeah, it's the same with, speaking of breaking on SNL, it's the same with Fallon. Remember when the Tonight Show, he got booted off. He was supposed to be the guest on Tonight Show, and they canceled at the last minute because he said something favorable for Roseanne, or kind of just at least, I forget exactly how that went. But yeah, Roseanne gave him his first job and whatever. So I think he had some words to say to support her, and then they canceled his appearance on the Tonight Show. So thanks, Jimmy.
Right. It is funny. You see, I don't know if you guys see this, but I do. When a comedian dies, it's about every other comedian. And it's a picture of them and the comedian, and the story is just how they said to them, you were great. You know what changed my life? The day he told me I was fucking fantastic. And that meant a lot to me, that I'm fantastic. And he implied that if it was a comedy contest, not just a comedy show, I would have won. Rest in peace. We're going to miss a unique talent.
And I'm here to say, Murph, I think you are wonderful. Carrie, you are fantastic. So when I die in 2 years, could you please just put that out there?
God damn it. Micah Fox wrote, my favorite memory of Norm was when he said I was the funniest person he ever met and the successor to his throne. R.I.P. to a true legend.
She's so funny.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
And then after, she wrote, if I could be serious for a moment, Norm's comedic genius and unwavering support for my career will never be forgotten. He was an icon, and I just have to believe he's laughing somewhere with Carlin and Pryor, telling them my jokes.
Nice.
He was the best. Damn it. I'll tell you who else passed away. I found out. If you've been listening to Keith and the Girl for a while, Diane O'Debra, a comedian and an actress. And we did live shows with her in New York, live audience shows in Pittsburgh. Just a real sweetheart, real infectious laughter and joy. She had a rack like no other. And she died from an aneurysm. And apparently, speaking about keeping things, quiet or personal, apparently she's been having seizures for years, and one caught up to her.
Oh, that's terrifying.
It is. Yeah.
Like, that is random.
The way I found out, I was on Facebook, and her old writing partner and sketch partner, Tanya O'Debra, and they haven't worked in a while, wrote something and mentioned her. And I was like, wait a second. I thought they had it out and they weren't maybe speaking to each other, but then they were. And I think they were fine. And I thought they were just like coming up with this new reunion or whatever. I had to read the first, 1 to 3 lines over and over again to be like, that's not what they're saying. Come on. Come on.
Right.
And then I thought she was congratulating her on she just got married a month ago
Jesus.
and just came
boy.
back from her honeymoon. And I feel bad for the husband, especially, of course, because I know like when you get married, nothing really changes except there's this feeling and you are officially starting this thing together. And that's when, and she was such a nice person, really such a sweet, caring, and like completely non-judgmental. You know, people are like, yeah, I'd never judge and blah, blah, blah. But I see your face when things happen. She genuinely like nothing would be like, oh, that's too much or too far. If you're not hurting anybody, it really is just be 100% you. And she will love you.
Right.
Yeah.
God damn it. Here's what you can do, by the way. KeithAndTheGirl.com/Diane. I put up some recent appearances of her that you don't need VIP to hear. So you'll be able to check those out. But yeah, just so sweet. And what a shame. We did the same thing some time ago with Kevin Barnett/Kevin. So again, you don't need VIP to hear these old shows.
And it's also a signal for no more Diane and Kevin's to pass away, please. Thank you.
Otherwise, it's going to be a fucking mess. I don't want to go hear, Diane 2 and go to that's an insult to everybody.
Or like you go to /Diane and then there's like options.
Right.
Oh, no.
Other Dianes you might be looking for. No pun.
Oh,
That's how funerals should work.
Right.
God.
Yeah, she was on 12 Keith and the Girl shows and 3 What's My Name episodes.
Oh, wow.
Starting back in 2009, for God's sakes. And God, today's a fucking bummer. First of all, do either of you contemplate death?
Every minute of every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've thought about it.
Carrie, when you have your show and you talk about major depression to slightly less depression, how bad would it get?
Suicidal. I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah, classic suicidal.
And what just life isn't working out? Not to
Classic.
throw in the word just, but what's the main hang up?
No, it's just the not wanting to do it anymore. It's just like everything's too exhausting. Like,
Right. It is
Just-
funny. We watched Groundhog Day being like, oh, that'd be a shame if you had to do everything over and over again. But it kind of seems like we do.
yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, another day,
I think he
Mud
just
puddle.
recognized the point of the whole movie.
Right. I didn't get it. I'm like, that's a
An
bummer.
epiphany.
It's a
I could learn
metaphor.
piano. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know they're tricking me. Hold on, I'm learning something.
Have the best possible day each day.
Are you still suicidal?
No, I'm on the pills with a Z.
Oh, okay. And Murph, you contemplate death or?
Yeah, well, I also I was slowly trying to kill myself with heroin for many years, but not so much anymore. So I think after that, I think surviving a couple of overdoses, I think I've skirted with death. But I think anymore, I'm relatively happy. I don't think about trying to die or trying to check out as much anymore. But yeah, just general depression, sure.
Yeah.
Did you know that at the time that you were trying to kill yourself or not?
Not really. No, I kind of look back on it as like I think I just kind of pretty much given up just on life in general. So I think it was kind of a lot of floating through. I don't know that I was particularly trying to load up, any more than I was used to shooting up to try to like purposely do it. But it's just that kind of slow roll. It's more of like any one of these times I could die. Plus with a lot of the fentanyl getting cut and shit, you never know when you're going to get something that's not what you expected.
They make it easy, right? For people trying to quit, these fentanyl motherfuckers.
Oh
The
yeah.
rat
Very
poison.
easy. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's very much out there now too. Fentanyl's a hell of a lot worse now than when I was in my heyday.
Did you have to stop hanging out with certain people?
I kind of did. My friends that supported me, some of my friends who took a little while to stop after I did, I didn't really see them as much. But
Right.
some of my friends who had gotten on the OxyContin train and stuff, but didn't really get into the heroin as much. They were around to hang out. So I had a good support system. I didn't like I had to abandon everyone in my life at once.
Are you seeing people dying from those days that didn't?
Yeah, some of my friends have died. Yeah, actually, remarkably, today, the 15th, is an anniversary of one of my dear friends who died on this day,
Right.
almost 20 years ago. So, but yeah, I lost some people along the way.
I was reading how Trevor Moore, recent guest on Keith and the Girl, we were going to be best friends. It's the first time we ever were able to talk to him. He, of course, died. We didn't know how. And I just read he appears to have fallen to death from his upstairs balcony at his house.
Like
Booze
second
bottles
floor.
all around.
What?
Wow.
Was he
That's
doing
bizarre.
a headstand? I saw a picture of his house. I'm guessing I saw the balcony. It's very, very tiny.
Oh my God.
So you don't know. What does that mean? I don't know, but that's how he died.
That's terrible.
Fire responded around 2:30 a.m. on August 7th for a medical emergency at his house. He was found unresponsive in the backyard. Backyard it's concrete. Pronounced dead by paramedics. There was no suicide note found, but alcohol may have contributed. He was 41.
I don't know if you can tell if that's just a slip or an actual purposeful thing.
It had a high railing for what that's worth. I'm just saying.
So you kind of had to make an effort to get over there.
Make an effort, or I don't know. Are you doing?
Yeah, but I've seen
flip?
people who are drunk make extra efforts. Like Keith said, are you making a flip? Are you doing a handstand? We know someone who broke a leg. I think they've since quit drinking. It's broke a leg because they were drunk doing a handstand on a balcony.
Right.
They fell
But
over.
were they alone?
No, they were at a party. Oh,
Because that's the other thing. that's
Right,
weird, too, is
right.
if you're solo doing handstands and headstands
Right.
and whatever the hell, that's
That's just weird. That's just
yeah,
Yeah.
at least have an audience for those shenanigans.
Right. That is
Right.
a good point. He was at a party, so there's other factors like leading you to more adventurous things. Otherwise, yeah, you're just kind of sitting.
This story was some time ago, but I think it goes. A CEO, a liquor company CEO, his name is Ian Crystal, 46. He was at a Citi Field concert. It happened to be Dead and Company. That's members of the Grateful Dead, and then other musicians like John Mayer will pop in. He died by doing a flip on a balcony at this concert. He attempted a body flip, fell, and landed on the balcony below. Let's see. This was around 9 p.m. So other people are around during this, of course. A fan said, I heard people going, and I see people running. And I said, bro, someone took a fucking header. So I don't know how many of those he sees that there's a term for it, but he took a header, man.
I feel like you can
Whoa.
make that up on the spot and people have to go with it. Oh, yeah,
Right,
header.
right.
Mhm.
He did a flipzoid.
Yeah.
A driver working outside the stadium said he saw the man flip before he fell and slammed into the ground. Quote, he was way too drunk. You could smell it.
Wow.
His brother came downstairs, found out he jumped. His brother was with him. He was crying. And that was the Grateful Dead's offshoots first tour of their of the season.
See, Keith, our bingo shenanigans are garbage.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
What are you worried about? We're all stoned. Like, ooh, who wants to play bingo?
There was a point where I was so drunk that I was like, we could spread out the coals and do a coal walk. 'Cause the
No.
coals are glowing exactly like they do in movies,
Yes.
like in
See?
movies or like on The Office, where like they have the coal walk.
Yes.
And I was like, we could do it. And Jake
No.
was like, sit down. Just you could
Right.
just sit. Or you
I
could
tr-
just sit.
I tried to do a backflip once in a show, in an improv show at UCB, and I landed on my head, neck area, but it wasn't from a distance; it was just from the ground. So I mean, even that you could kind of fuck yourself up.
Yeah,
But
you could fuck your spine
from a
up
balcony.
and-
Yeah, that was dumb. It was dumb of me to do. I was like, I could do this.
What made you think you can do it?
You know, just I don't know, arrogance, foolish. I don't know what it was. I just thought
Had you ever done even a walkover, let alone a backflip?
no, just on like a trampoline, but you know, you got a little bit of bounce to
Yeah,
it.
or like into water. Like I can do an amazing backflip from like a diving board. And I don't have to prove that to anyone. I can just say it and you'll believe me. But if you do it badly, it hurts. And that's into water.
That's water, right? I
You
figured
know,
I'd
like-
at least land on my I'd make it around and land on maybe my knees or my shins in some way, but I
Yeah.
landed just straight up on my head.
It is one of those things that just seems like you need balls. And if you have the balls to do it, you can do it. Because how am I going to practice with a mat? Then I'll land
Right.
on the mat with my neck. I'm doing it or I'm not doing it.
Yeah, commit and you'll make it around. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what my answer. But yeah, that could have been
Yeah, but the front flip, you can sort of like fake it. I was able to make a front flip on any kind of bouncy thing. I also could do like a handstand and fall into the water backwards because that's a walkover. But the backflip is so extra. Like you can't, I mean, I invite everybody listening to even try to like do a bridge by leaning back and just
Mhm.
catching yourself with your hands.
Yeah.
The lean back is hard. And if you can't do that, you can't flip around.
Let me
No.
mention this to our audience. I've seen enough death today Don't try it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What do you
Don't
get?
standing back.
Right.
Do it very sober is the message I'm getting.
Right.
Wake up, cup of coffee, clear-headed, try a backflip.
Also, all of your ideas past 2 a.m., even if you only think you had one drink, they're bad ideas. So instead of doing them, write them down, check on them tomorrow. That's all I'm saying.
And then when you're sober, you're reading your list, like some stand-up set you wrote drunk, and you're like, "What the fuck was I thinking?" Like
backflip off a balcony would be funny. How's that
Backflip off balcony? LOL. I write LOL after all the jokes I write in my notebook.
Hilarious stuff. Pause for 5 minutes, standing out.
Pause for 5 minutes. Collect accolades.
Guys, please stop. All right, let me mention this then. BetterHelp. You know about it, right? Therapy. It's finally a thing. I'm starting it. What do you think of that?
Did you find your therapist?
I did. We didn't start officially, but I did find her. Whenever you start with, you give like, what's on your mind? And so they give you some prompts, and I'm like, okay, alcoholic. That's an easy one. And then some other shit. And they have somebody that tells you the exact, you're like, I specialize in everything you just wrote. I'm like, all right, we got a match. I even tried to spell some things wrong in case it's like a trick.
It's a good survey though, because even taking the survey gives you focus. It's like, what are the 3 things wrong with your life? 1, 2, 3. What are the 3 goals you have for your entire life? 1, 2, 3. You're like, oh my God.
And I don't think, if I remember right, it doesn't say what feelings do you have, because that's what you're going to learn after. So it's stuff that you can actually fill out. But I love that they match you like it's a date.
Yeah. One of the questions is, what made you get into this? And I said, the smartest people I know go to therapy, right? So why not? And then there was some other question that prompted me saying, I'll probably need prompted, but if you get me going, I know what words are. Send. And I found this woman.
I like that.
Yeah. So join me and join the millions of people who are seeing what therapy is really about. See if it's for you. You are your greatest asset. Okay. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Keith and the Girl listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/KATG. You can also sneak in and listen in on Keith's calls. What? That can't be right. No, of course not. It's private. That's betterhelp.com/KATG. Thank you. All right. Let's do some fun news stories now. All right. Enough death. Okay. A Georgia man kidnapped his ex-wife so that he could pretend to rescue her in a bid to win her back. He got 25 years in prison.
Oh, then he got exactly where she wanted him to be.
Right.
Well, he can't try this again. Wow. So he wanted her. He was okay with her experiencing. She wasn't in on it. She's being kidnapped and he's saving her. How many of you have had this fantasy or version of it where you saved the day? Have you had this? Murph is
kind of a hero. Yeah, having a hero fan. Not as far as the kidnap. I don't even, the logistics of that are just mind-boggling.
Right.
I don't know.
She doesn't know you. I mean, maybe you don't know each other. That's why you got a divorce. But any of my exes, they would recognize the way I walk and move and hold you.
Absolutely.
No, wear a face mask. We're allowed to wear face masks now. You can't recognize a person if their mouth is covered.
And then just leave her in like a garage somewhere. And then all of a sudden you just bust in as you. And then you're like, oh my, I thought you were missing.
Saved you.
Yeah.
Right.
Better still want her after she peed her pants and shit her pants. Like, you better still find her sexy.
Yes.
Well, what if she's fighting off the attacker and kills you? You know, like what if she successfully fights off a kidnapping attempt and kills either the guy you hired to pretend,
right,
or if you're doing it yourself, which would be stupid.
That's fine. If she kills me, then she'll feel bad. So that's fine too.
Yeah, she pulls the mask off. You're like, I'm a hero, and then you just die. It's like, what?
Yeah, she's like, that was weird. Okay.
Rodney William Metzer, 36, broke into his ex-wife's home on January 1st while wearing a mask and disguising his voice. That'd be me going, "Hi, bitch."
Try to do the Batman.
If you did that, I'd be like, Batman. Keith, save me. Keith, save me.
And then my dogs that she took are running up to me trying to lick my face.
Yeah. I hate dogs.
It's like, how did you know where the knives are?
Hey, Hugsy.
You know what?
Yeah, you say their name. Yeah.
But he doesn't know where the knives are. And that was part of the problem.
Right.
So it's a little, I can't believe he went to do it. On the one hand, it's way better because he didn't like include other people in this stupid fucking thing. But on the other hand, you have no friends because you can't,
Right.
Did you run this by anybody? And they said, yeah. Good idea.
This was the ideas you write down at 3 a.m. when you're drunk. You're supposed to dismiss them the next day.
Exactly.
Kidnap wife, LOL. And like you wake up and you're like, that would have been funny. No, this guy did it.
He ties her up and then he looks in the kitchen. He's like, seriously, though, can you close your fucking cabinet doors? All right, I'm out of here.
Right.
And
I
then
love how you're like
call.
Triumph. You sound like Triumph.
Thank you.
I think
And I've never done that voice with my exes, so they won't know.
He sounds like weird Batman.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you call and go, hey, just reaching out. Hello, where are you? I'm not going to lie. If I don't hear from you in 4 hours, I'm going to come and find you.
Yeah.
And then
Wherever
the first thing you
are.
do before you knock is kick the door open.
Also, what if it didn't work? Was there any guarantee? Like, if you were that shitty of a husband, maybe it would also be like, thank you, but no, we're not getting back together. You might go through all that, and then it's no guarantee.
She said you
Right.
never made an effort, and he did what he could do.
She
Right.
must have been with him for his looks. What were you saying, Carrie?
When a woman says, show me some effort, she doesn't mean save me from being kidnapped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
That's
It's
not
like-
the ultimate.
I usually mean like shower.
Yeah, bathe a little more.
Like,
Yeah.
why don't you bathe, babe?
Ask for that raise, babe. Go
Right,
for
right,
it.
right. I'm
Like, even
you know,
though we're going out to dinner together and we made plans, act like you had something to do with it on your end. Make it
Right.
romantic. You
like,
pretend.
put your phone down for 5 seconds, not
Yeah.
save me from being kidnapped.
I just wanted you to wash a camping bowl. Okay, but I figured the ultimate would be I kidnap you. After leaving her for hours, he swooped in, posing as a hero to save her. So she did right away.
Oh man.
Wait, I need
Can
more.
you imagine what was going through her freaking mind while this is happening? Like,
Yeah.
she's sitting there, watching TV, and all of a sudden her ex-husband comes in,
You smell them. You know what I mean? You
You
recognize
Crazy,
definitely
like-
smell them.
cracked out on PCP or something, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna kidnap you. Like, what? I can't imagine. She's
He
never
probably
gonna-
thought it was him. I mean, likely if he's this, obsessed over her, it was probably the initial thought is like, is this him?
Right.
There's-
Because he
there's
gave
no-
clues too. He didn't do this out of the blue. He's trying to reach out on Facebook and stuff. Nothing was working. And coincidentally,
Yes.
you're in my life. And on a Thursday, I'm kidnapped.
There is no way that you don't know your ex when they're grabbing to kidnap you.
Yes,
Right.
There's just-
exactly.
This
It's an
isn't just
intimate
an
act.
ex. This isn't like a 12-year-old relation. Like we're 12 and we went out for like a day and we said we were boyfriend girlfriend. They got married. You know what? Like you're spooning her into submission. What's happening?
Right.
Yeah.
And make sure. Like, did he plan anything? Make sure you grab things with your left hand.
Yeah,
You don't do that much,
that would throw me off.
No, for
Right.
sure. He sounds like a thinker. I think he would
Right.
think this.
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I wonder, like, how did he come into the room to save her? Like Superman, akimbo, like,
Right.
Yeah.
hello, are you hurt in any way? And then how does he explain how he found her? Like he
Yeah,
smelled
that's
her.
This is like low. Is he like low IQ or is he that high? Or you know what? He must just be really in love. Like what?
He's just
what,
dumb and in love.
dumb and in love, and that's what men do.
He's
Oh
not
my
bad
God, this is-
looking, by the
it's-
way. I'll put
I
this.
said-
I'll put his picture. But yeah, he's not bad looking.
this is
So
in.
you want to
a-
marry him? You should marry him, Keith.
He seems like trouble if it doesn't work out.
He's a bad boy.
I mean, he'll make parole in like 17 years. and,
Right.
You know.
in Eliza Schlesinger's movie that I believe is Netflix. I know
Mhm.
it's on Netflix. They kidnap. Sorry, spoiler. They kidnap
Mm.
this guy to find out what he's really about, and I'm like, holy shit! But you're kidnapping him. How are you? It's like 2 hours into the movie, and you're kidnapping him. How are you going to close this movie out? And
Right.
and it was the rush you thought it was.
Mm.
Sometimes you're not supposed to check the time when you're seeing a movie. You're like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, you just kidnapped somebody.
You look at the stopwatch.
It's a to be continued. It's like the end of like a sitcom,
Right.
and you're like, oh no, we have 5 minutes left, and they haven't made up yet. It's a to be
Yeah.
continued.
Here's another story. A Florida woman accused of loudly farting in a store and then pulling out a knife on a man who criticized her was put up for charges, but won't be because the guy isn't pressing the charges. But Her name is Shanetta Wilson, 40. She threatened to, quote, gut a fellow shopper, John Walker, 58. Saw her case dropped when he refused to participate. So she farted. He somehow said something about it. She said, no, it wasn't me, and pulled out a knife. All right, it wasn't you.
And pulled out a knife and said, I will gut you.
Yeah.
Right.
At bingo, I was telling people everything was,
Yeah, this bingo thing is looking less and less criminal, right?
Yeah.
I think we're let off.
He just blamed her for it wasn't her farting. He blamed her for farting. That's what this was.
That's what it sounds like. So
by the way, how did that go? Like, did you just
also
fart?
why? I don't know if you deserve to be gutted, but it's also kind of like, what the fuck, man?
Right.
He's got to call people out in public.
But
for
like,
farting?
if I fart really loud in public, the only thing you can do is own it. Like if you're like a really like a whoopee cushion type of fart, are you doing it, Keith?
And then I look over, and
that was
you're
the
like,
sound of you shitting your pants, though.
Yeah, that was
like,
wet. That was very moist.
And then she goes, it wasn't me. And I go, okay, but it's kind of funny. It was you. And she takes out a knife. That's all that happens.
I didn't know we could take out knives in stores and threaten people when they catch us farting.
Now you know you can't.
Now it's on the table.
Is it weird to ask where she was in her cycle? Because sometimes that hysterical.
Oh, there's another knife. You fucked up.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just not in the mood for you.
Well, thanks for listening to Keith. But,
Keith and the regrets.
right.
Keith and the sad.
All right. One last news story for you. You ready?
Yeah.
The president of Brazil told everyone in the country to buy a rifle. The country is crime ridden, and he says to take care of it. The country of 211 million people all should go out and buy a rifle.
That's so specific. This country is now brought to you by rifles.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Like, did he name a brand? Like, why not?
Yeah,
name
that sounds like a
brand?
plug.
Yeah, exactly.
Did he mean like ripples, like potato chips or something?
I think he meant
No,
rifles. I think
He
meant
mispronounced
rifles.
riffles and everyone got a rifle. Oops. Like, that's the worst typo ever.
I'm getting that great wax, but you have a rifle over
That's
your
a
shoulder as you're
weird
doing
thing
it.
to tell an entire country. Jesus.
And then what does the rest of the country do? Like, he said that he still gets to be the leader. That sounds I think that's a 2 a.m. You need to sleep on that.
Yeah, that's another
Yeah.
sleep it off.
That's
Kidnap
definitely
your
a sleep
wife,
it off.
get a rifle.
Too many people out there having too much stress, too much anxiety, too much pain. Let me help you out right now. Feals, Feals. It's CBD, and I think it's going to do your life a favor. Isn't this THC, if that scares you? CBD. And to explain CBD, of course, you know the difference.
THC gets you head high, and CBD just has the parts that help without changing your brain's chemicals. Murph, am I getting that right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. It's good for like pain and stuff, inflammation. Yeah, yeah. It's more of a body situation. You don't get high.
And it keeps your head clear. You feel your best, hassle-free, delivered right to your door. And maybe you're thinking, okay, but all the bodies are different. Is this one size fits all somehow magically? No, of course not. So now you're confused. What are you going to do? I have the answer. Wouldn't that be nuts? I'm like, I don't know what you would do. Other than that, though, it's a good product. No, they have a line that you call and you can figure it out with somebody. Customer service. The Feals customer service team is dedicated to making sure you get the best use of your CBD. Okay, they'll guide you personally. You're going to love it. Start feeling better with Feals. Become a member today by going to feals.com/KATG and get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's feals.com/KATG to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping. Feals.com/KATG. Thank you.
Thank you. Why wouldn't you get that?
I don't
I
get.
don't understand.
Does it hurt me somehow if you don't get it? Is that what you're thinking? And I made a political statement you didn't like. Why would you not get it?
This is a bingo friendly product. No one's getting hurt.
That's right. Okay. Now, let's go over what we learned today. Okay. This Saturday, Silent Trailers, I Will Win. Fuck them all. I hate them on a human level. That they would have even tried to play against me and put me down is an offense.
Wow, that's
Thank
a
you.
plug, Keith.
So be sure to be part of that.
Man, there's
Okay.
a line to sign up.
Carrie hates every day. Murph is getting better and hates every other day. Okay.
That-
Norm
that
Macdonald
is
passed
accurate.
away. He was one of the greats, of course, and he told a joke about bread.
And because he makes all of us feel good about ourselves.
Right. Diane O'Deborah, she passed away. She had the huge tits. Very, very nice person. Trevor Moore, we know that not to do backflips on balconies. I see a balcony, I stay away. I won't even meet
that's
somebody
true.
on their balcony.
I see
It's
a
on
balcony.
brand.
I soliloquy Juliet's lines. It's just what a balcony calls for.
Yes,
I-
but that's like pre-midnight thoughts. That's cool.
Yeah.
Don't kidnap your ex-wife, even if you think you weren't too close. She probably knows you. Now, if you want to kidnap your ex-husband and then save the day, yeah, you can. Men are idiots. But the women, trust me, they know your smell. They know the way you move. They know everything. All right, let it go. Let it go. Let's see. If you fart, run.
Take
Don't
a
turn
knife.
it into a thing. Be embarrassed. Whatever happened to the days when people were embarrassed? How would you even get out of my mouth? It wasn't me. I'm out the fucking door. It wasn't me.
You just run away when you fart. That's more
Yeah.
obvious. That's more obvious.
I jumped through a fucking window. Okay, maybe deep down you know, but I don't know if you really know. Maybe you think I heard it too and had to run. All I know is you're not making me pull out a knife. Okay, Murph knew he had a distance from some friends. I know I got to get the fuck out of the store.
But what do
All
you
right.
do if you have to fart then? You have to go home?
That's how he gets his cardio.
Yeah.
Just running away from his own farts?
Uh-huh.
Where do you live? Go to another store.
I think the lesson is more if you're going to call someone out in public on their farts, carry a knife.
Yeah.
No.
Mm.
Also carry
Yeah.
a knife. So
If,
that-
if you're the kind of person that can't fucking help it when somebody's embarrassed
Yeah.
to call it out, you carry a bigger knife.
And
Yeah,
if
You know who
you're-
make sure
gets
that-
it?
And if you're in Brazil, carry a rifle when
That's-
when you call someone out for farting.
That's who gets it. Leader of Brazil.
Yeah.
There you have it. Carrie Gravenson, people want to know what you're up to, Carrie. And of course, they can follow you online, but anything we should tell them specifically?
I got a show at QED coming up next Friday. That's
Okay.
whatever next Friday is, the date. I don't
Here in fabulous Queens, New
It
York.
is the 24th. Come see
Okay.
me at QED.
All right, we'll do it. And Murph, tell me what's doing.
just selfmedicatedpod.com is the website
Mhm.
for the podcast, at Murph Meyer on Instagram. And that's about it. That's
And
about
you-
it for me.
You've played silent trailers with Keith.
I
Anyone
have.
want to chime in on what an asshole he is the whole
I
time?
mean,
Or-
vicious.
Yeah,
Just
can you
vicious.
imagine? He's telling us about bingo. This is how he behaves on silent trailers. Amazing. I think this
I
is
know.
the poll.
Keith, yes, no. Thank you guys. Great to see you again.
You too, guys.
Thanks.
KeithAndTheGirl.com.